Hey and welcome, it's Dan, hope you're well today. So it seems like it's been ages since we've gone live, and that's probably because it is. So we're going to talk today about whether you should get a side hustle or start a small business or just do something on the side, not necessarily get a part-time job, because the maximum you can be rewarded for a part-time job is whatever that part-time job actually pays. And so it doesn't really make sense to me to go and get a part-time job. You know, what you're going to get, £9 an hour? Whereas actually if you did a side hustle or you created a side business of some kind, then maybe you could sell more things or create more income for the same amount of time. Now also, there's a risk, of course, that you're going to spend more time and earn even less money. So for example, if you're working so many hours at work and then you go and work so many hours somewhere else, you can just end up burning yourself out and not really earning that much more money. It depends where you are. Like if you're really struggling for money and you just want to clear the decks and make sure you've got enough coming in for sure, then yeah, go get yourself a part-time job. I understand why you might actually want to do that. But if you want to get ahead, and so instead of treading water, instead of just treading water for a while, you actually want to get ahead, then I'd actually recommend that you go down the side hustle route or the creating a business kind of route. But there's a couple of things I want to talk about that kind of thing. So the first one is really about letting the side hustle become the main hustle. And so what I mean by that is, let's say that you work in a call center for now, just let's assume that. And by the way, if you've got your own business and you're on about doing a side hustle, what's wrong with the main business if it's your business? It may be that kind of business takes a while to actually be created, and I understand that, and you need to tread water for a while, but what's the point in setting up a side hustle? Surely you should just spend another 10-20 hours a week on your main business, because that's where you're going to end up, right? So that's the first thing. Kind of doesn't make sense. But also, we want to make the side hustle become the main hustle. So if you have got a full-time job and you're doing the side hustle stuff, or you want to start selling something, or being a property sourcer, or being a YouTuber or an influencer or a vlogger, or creating training courses that you can then sell online, by the way, which is a really good side hustle to have, one of the better side hustles, I would suggest, in fact. We still make money off our property sourcing training that we did over 3.5 years ago now. 3.5 years ago, and we're still making money. And do you know what's really dumb? We made that course. It took quite a while to create the course. I mean, I say that it took us less than 2 weeks. It didn't take quite a while. It was an intense 2 weeks, but we went through and we did it. And so through that process, we've made a lot of money off that course. And so we're still selling it. We had a sale this morning, and we're still averaging about a sale a day. It has dropped a little bit, but it's about a sale a day, give or take. That's amazing. £27 a day every day, give or take. That's amazing. And what's ridiculous is that we've not gone out and created another 10 courses doing that. At £27 a day, that's £270 a day times 30 is, I can't work it out, it's £6,000 a month. Like, that's ridiculous. And so there are certain things that you could go down on the side hustle route. So course creation, for example, being a YouTuber. Being a YouTuber is really hard. It is very, very difficult. I mean, this is just me talking. Maybe it's because I find it difficult. Maybe nobody wants to watch my content. May well be that's the case, right? And that seems that way. But that's all right. The few people that do watch it, the few people then become clients, and because we have a subscription service on our digital marketing agency, that's what pays for the digital marketing agency. But the plan should be for your side hustle to replace your main income. That really should be your plan. And you can only do that if you're going to get serious about your side hustle, which then takes me on to the next bit, which is about starting small and then work up to something bigger. And by the way, I have to just reset the monitors, because the monitors are deciding to go into eco mode, which turns them off. So you need to start small and work your way up. And that means an hour a day, 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day. You're not going to be able to do that right off the start. But week 1, you might get 5 hours in. Week 2, it might be 10 hours. Week 3, it might be 4 15 hours. Week 4, it might be 20 hours. And you've got to start small and you've got to build up. What happens for a lot of people is they start with 20 hours a week, okay, and by the time they get to week 4, they are so utterly burnt out, they've made no money, because there's this idea that you start a side hustle and the money will just flow in. And do you think that if it was that easy, everybody would be doing it? And it maybe feels like everybody's doing it, but I'll tell you, most people are not. Most people start something. I mean, on the property sourcing training, we can log into the back end and we can actually see who's actually carried out the training as a percentage, 80%, 10%, and who isn't. And there's a lot of people who, they buy it, they start gung-ho, and then, it peters out and they're not getting through to the end of the course, they're not doing a training, or they'll get certain bits and they don't finish the course. And then the other side of it is, we get a lot of people who, they'll buy a website. Out of all those people that buy the website, when it comes to renewing that website in 12 months, how many of those do you think actually renew their website? It's a very low percentage. We're talking 20 to 25% of people who create property sourcing websites never renew it, right? Because they've given up already. That's not what a side hustle is. You start small, you work up, you get serious about it, and you go and you create this thing that's going to replace your income. You can't start thinking, oh, I'm going to replace my income. I'm only going to work 5 hours a week for the next 52 weeks. Like, no one starts a business, so let me rephrase that. Nobody starts a successful business in that way and ends up in 12 months' time multimillionaires. It just doesn't work. You got to start small and you got to work up. But there's a risk here and there's a danger, and I see this quite a lot as well. You don't want to create a prison for yourself. So, for example, a lot of people buy businesses and all they've done is they've bought themselves a prison cell. Take the post office worker who thinks, you know what, I'm going to buy my own post office, takes his life savings, buys a post office. Have you been in a post office? That's like 3 feet deep and 10 feet wide. Every post office that's a small local post office, not the big ones obviously, the small ones, 3 feet deep, 10 feet wide. That is your prison cell, and you're going to be in there from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m, maybe 6 p.m, maybe 6 days a week. That's not a side hustle. That's not a business. That's prison, right? You've literally created a prison cell for yourself, and we don't want that. Like, one of the good things, if you're going to go down the YouTube route and be a vlogger and that kind of thing, is, your prison cell is the entire planet because you can go traveling and all of that kind of thing. But actually, you still cause yourself a prison cell because now you're going on holiday, and instead of going on holiday going, oh, this is so nice reading on the beach, you're like, that'd make a good shot. Let me film me eating paella, I should say, paella in Spanish. Let me, mojito on the beach, that looks nice. Oh, let me just film this. Mojito on the beach. Like, you've caused yourself or created yourself another little prison cell, and it's this constant striving. And, for some people, side hustles are a really bad idea. Go get yourself a better job. Or some people, it's not even a side hustle, they start up in business, and the anxiety around not being able to close business and the income going up and down, that can cause a lot of stress. And sometimes you're best just going and getting a full-time job, enjoying your full-time job, making it what you want it to be, making the social connections that you want to make, having a barbecue where you invite your work friends, and go down that path. And then at least you're going to earn 30-40 grand a year, £3,000-4,000 a month. All your bills are paid. You know that you're in a job till you're 65. Move some money over for your pension, so if that's covered, and actually go down that route. Some days, I think, do you know what? Ooh, I'd love a job. Literally, some days, even now, I feel like, ooh, suits you. Get yourself a job. Oh, suits you, sir. For those fans of the Fast Show there. So, don't create a prison for yourself. And then just the final bit on this is that it's going to be really hard. We talked about how people, they start, 20 hours a week and then it peters off and then they fail. It is hard. Starting a side hustle is really hard work. You got a partner, you got kids, you've got friends, you've got beers, you've got sport, you just want to kick back and watch for a game, you want to go to the gym, you want to go out with your buddies, kayaking, whatever, and you're going to have to lose some of that. The struggle is real. But I think you can, some people romanticize that struggle, and I kind of like that. I think that's quite a nice thing. At one point, me and my wife, we didn't buy Christmas presents for each other because we'd spent all the money on the business and on our property portfolio. We just didn't have any money. There we were as multimillionaires through the property portfolio, and some tenants weren't paying, and bills had gone up, and we really struggled. That is the struggle. I look back at that and I'm like, that was a romantic kind of thing, I guess. There's something falling over outside, if you wondered what the bang was. The struggle is real. This is a thing that you're going to have to go through, and you're going to have to think about, what am I prepared to sacrifice in order to get to where I want to get to on my side hustle or on my business. So look, I hope that's useful for you. I hope you get some useful tips out of that. We'll catch up with you on the next one. Take care.